Backward reasoning. This is a powerful tool that you may use to check whether something makes sense or not, given the target you are set. This sort of techniques you will especially find very useful when it comes to new ventures, startups, when you have little data and you have to work on assumption. This is also a way to check fast with little data whether what you are trying to get is achievable and whether the things you are planning are consistent. So imagine that you were supposed to say how much you have to spend to create a company that has revenue of $100. For this, we're gonna use the so-called backward reasoning, and let's see how we do it step by step. As said, you have to generate $100 million of revenues. This means that assuming, obviously, average revenue per customer of 5K, you have to get 20,000 customers. Next, let's see how many leads it means that we have to have in order to generate this number of customers. If we assume the conversion, so how many leads convert to customers of 10%, this would suggest that we have to have 200,000 of leads. And if we assume that we spend on average per lead 2K, it would require us to invest 400 million in acquiring the leads that would lead us to 20,000 customers that if they generate 5K, we get our goal. So as you can see, I worked my way backwards. So I started with the revenues, then with some assumption on the average revenue per customer, conversion and cost of one lead, I came up with the number that I have to invest. So if I'm not willing, obviously, to spend this amount of money, I will not get this size of revenues. Obviously, the assumptions we made here, so the average revenue per customer, conversion and cost of lead are something we have to check, and it's also a thing that you can use as a metric to see whether the venture makes sense or not. So if I assume that I want to have 100 million of dollars, but I don't have a 400 million to spend, but just let's say 100, it means that I have to cut down significantly on the cost of a lead, increase the conversion, and also increase maybe the average revenue per customer. So I can play with the numbers and see how achievable this is or not. So if I'm not able, for example, to lower 4 times the cost of lead, then this would not happen. I would not be able to generate 100 million of revenue with 100 costs. I could also try to cut down this in half and increase this in 20% to get to the achieved goal. So play with it and always use it whenever you are talking about new venture, startup, and also things where you don't have much data, but you would like to see the logic. And always start from the end, so the goal, and then work your way backwards to all the drivers that you will need to estimate further.